It's time to talk MTCS sports. It's Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA, live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
We're joined by Middle Tennessee Christian School coaches to talk about their most recent games and their upcoming opponents. It's time to talk orange and white on MTCS Cougar Corner.
We welcome you into MTCS Cougar Corner, talking about the orange and white this morning, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA keeping you in the game. Hopefully you don't need TOA too much, Coach. Christian Peterson joining us this morning. The game of football, that's just part of it, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. I don't think we've added anyone to the injury list. So it's good to kind of get out fairly healthy. We'll be about as healthy as you can be, I guess, going into the postseason. Everyone's a little dinged up. Everyone's feeling, the nicks and bruises and everything else. But I think our kids are excited, and they're excited for the opportunity. And, we kind of talked about it. You get in these playoff games, and everyone's 0-0. And now it's just about go have a good week of practice. And, especially for those seniors, go out and try and earn yourself another one. And that's just go out and play one game at a time, one play at a time, and see what happens.
Well, I know that your opponent, Ezel Harding, number one, Ezel was the team. I mean, MTCS and Ezel have had some battles in all sports, and pretty close in proximity. Despite the fact that they haven't had the best of seasons, you knew you were going to get their best effort last night.
Absolutely. I mean, they were playing for a playoff spot. If they beat us, they were in. If they beat us, they were the 3. So. They came in, and it's their senior night, and they played with a lot of energy, and they got some athletes over there, and they make it tough to tackle, but I thought our kids responded really well. I thought we played really well in space. I thought we played physical. I told them I thought we had our most physical week of practice this past week, and really kind of translated to Friday night.
Well, you go down first quarter. Score about midway through the first quarter. It was 8-0 at that point.
Yeah,
and then 2 more quarters. I mean, the fourth quarter, you did start off and have a couple of scores there, but the pretty tense middle half of that game, I guess.
Yeah. So neither team really seemed like they were in a hurry. We had the first drive, I think went 11 plays. We scored, take up over half the first quarter. They were still on their first drive when the quarter ended. So there just wasn't a whole lot of possessions in that game. Our sophomore corner, Jack Thompson, comes up, forces a big fumble, ball rolls in the end zone, we recover it. Come out the next drive, we're moving the ball well, get down inside the red zone. Quarterback takes a shot and the ball comes out. Defense stands up again. And then we had, a drive where we got the ball with like a minute left and tried to make some things happen. Just didn't work out. It's one of those things where you want to try and go and get points, but you also don't want to give them the ball in the short field and give them any momentum into halftime. Felt like we were controlling the game at that point. We come out in the second half and defense played phenomenal. And really I think we both kind of traded fumbles there on our first drives. And, again, both teams, every drive seemed like it took 5 minutes off the clock. And so, I think the first half took an hour. It was a blink and it was halftime. And so, there's not a lot of possessions. It keeps the scoring down a little bit. We had a couple touchdowns called back that, could have kind of really broken the game early, broken it open early. But the thing I'm most proud of our kids is, and I think we've gotten better at it through the years, don't allow the last play to affect the next play. And so, at times, especially when you're young, you get a holding call or a fumble or something happens and you watch out and you just don't play great the next play because you guys are still thinking about the last one. I thought last night we did a much better job of being able to reset and get to the next play and just keep playing football. And, it gave us that opportunity to kind of right the ship and get some positive momentum going. And again, they played really hard. I'm so proud of our kids and, really kind of good win to kind of roll us into the postseason.
We've got Christian Peterson here with us this morning as we talk about MTCS and the Cougars. I mean, you had a freshman that kind of exploded onto the scene this season and really kind of showed out in Week 11.
Yeah, Ali played fantastic. So excited about him. And really, the best thing about him is he's a great kid. Everybody that knows him, I hear from teachers and administrators all the time about how much they love him. He's just got a really infectious personality. He's always happy. He's always bouncing around, and you're excited for those kids when they're able to see that success and see how hard he works every day. He comes to practice every day and he goes at 100 miles an hour, and when you're able to see that translate, that's always fun to see as a coach.
Well, I was looking at the stats, and boy, you passed just enough to keep them thinking. 6 attempts last night, but 31 carries for Bangura and 237 yards, 3 TDs. That's more than a night at the office.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's Briggs' first game back since South Pitt, so it's been a while since he's seen game action. I think for him it was a little bit of rust. He threw the ball well in practice, but in practice a little bit different than the game setting. And I don't know that he stepped into a couple that he normally would have, and he missed a read or two. But I can't say enough about that kid. I mean, he has done everything we've asked of him all year. We're kind of protecting him a little bit. Want to make sure that we keep him into the postseason. So we ran him a few times, and he ran really hard. Did a lot of really good things for us, that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. But, it was really good having him back. And, he does give us the element of the pass game that makes us explosive and changes how people cover us. Because as soon as you don't cover our pass, he can't hurt you. Last night, they weren't going to let us throw the ball shy. They weren't going to do it. So, we were able to get the ball to Ali a little bit more because it gives us a lighter box. And, as soon our quarterback and our team knows that, once they load that box back up to try and stop him, we're going to throw the football out to Jaden or Eric or Shy and let them go make some plays. And so, it's been a good complementary game where even if you're not necessarily getting the yards in the pass game, people know they have to defend it or we're going to hit big plays on you in the pass game. And so, it's really it's helped our offensive line and it's helped our offense kind of be able to roll.
Sometimes you don't know going into a game how a team's going to defend you either, when you've got different athletes and they want to take something away. But if they don't adjust, you're gonna go to your second adjustment. I'm sure it kind of blows up your play sheet sometimes, but if they're going to let Bangura run wild, then go right ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. We joke about it all the time that we don't know what the other team's going to line up, and we're weird on offense.
Yeah.
So we get the flavor of the week on defense. Everybody changes their defense a little bit to try and face us, and so all week in practice, we just give them a bunch of different looks that we think we might get. And sometimes one of those looks is something they're going to run, and sometimes they're going to run something that we haven't seen once all year. And so, for our kids, a lot of it is just being confident in their rules, understanding what their job is. That way, no matter how they line up, we're going to be okay. Again, they weren't going to let Shy get open on any deep pass routes. They had a guy playing underneath, a guy over the top, and then when we were in our balance set, they had a guy waiting to try and spy him on any kind of counter or weak sweep or anything like that. And so, I told him at halftime, I go, listen, at some point they're going to have to make an adjustment. Right now we're able to run the ball strong. If they don't, we're going to keep running it strong. If they do, as soon as they move, though, we're going to get you the football. We're going to go. And he was able to get some big runs for us, and really it was enough to scare them and not let them just overload to the strong side. And again, it's complementary football. It might not show up in the stat sheet where he has 200 yards, but I think he's 66 last night. I think all those yards are are yards that keep a defense lined up, how we need them lined up to then hit big plays somewhere else. And again, once someone over adjusts, then we're going to get him the football, and he's going to make some big plays. He's probably the fastest kid on the field everywhere we go. And so, even when he doesn't necessarily have the ball, everybody has to know where he is. And so he opens it up for everybody else. And, again, he ran the ball really hard last night. There were a couple runs that he probably should have only got 1 or 2, and he turned it into 5 or 6. And, when you start getting guys who, you think of as scat backs that are fast and they're running that hard, you definitely want to reward them. And, we gave him the ball enough to try and get him the ball in his hands. But, take what the defense gives you, get first downs, keep drives moving, and try and go get points on the board.
Christian Peterson here this morning as we talk about MTCS football. And I just keep thinking when you're talking about these kids that if you're an MTCS fan, you're going to hear these names a lot over the next many years because, we're talking about really some youngins. But what I was really concerned about, we had the broadcast of the South Pittsburgh game, and, when you see Briggs go down like he did, you kind of worry, is that it? And you never want that to happen to a senior. So I'm sure that there's been a lot of conversations and what's best and this, that, and the other, but to see him back out last night had to be made you feel really good.
Absolutely. Obviously we're extremely, extremely excited and happy for him that there wasn't, originally they thought it might be broken.
Yeah.
They were on the field. And then once they confirmed it wasn't broken, they're like, well, then there's probably a tear in there somewhere.
It swelled up like immediately, didn't it?
Yeah. And, he couldn't put any weight on it. And so they did X-ray, did MRI, and there was nothing structural. So it was just a really bad sprain. And so then from there, it's, all right, well, let's work with the doctors and make sure that, we're not going to get you hurt worse. Like, I know he wanted to play. He wanted to play last week. And, but for him, he wasn't ready to go. I don't want to put a kid out there and risk further injury. He's got a lot of life after high school football. And, I know I've played it, right? I got, was lucky enough to play in college. Like, I know how exciting it is. I know how much you want to play as a player. And, sometimes it's our job to make sure that we protect them from themselves a little bit and make sure that they're not going out there until they're ready to go out there. And
well, as a player, you would have done the same. It's like trying to bridle in, a wild horse.
Right.
I want to go, right?
Absolutely. And he's a competitor. He wants to play. And so, he was heartbroken and not be able to play in the PCA game. And when he got cleared this week, he was like, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm like, well, we're going to ease you back into it. We're going to see what you can do. And if it hurts, you need to let us know. We had eyes on him, making sure, is he favoring it all when he cuts and doing all that stuff. And he really didn't all week in practice. He ran hard. He was making good cuts. And, he has such a good command of the offense and is such a good leader for us that just having him on the field really helps just kind of calm everybody down and helps us get into the right plays. And, again, can't say enough about how hard he played last night and how excited our kids were to have him back on the field.
Christian, you pitched the shutout last night as well, and that's something that defenses always love to hang their hat on.
No doubt. I can't say enough about our defense. He really had one drive there early that got him down inside the red zone, and we're really a danger of scoring. Our kids found a way to force a turnover and get the ball back, and then they were trying to hit some speed options and stuff out of the backfield, and I thought our kids, listened to Kerr really well and made some really good adjustments. And again, I think we had a really physical week of practice. It translated. I thought that was probably one of our most physical games that we've played, and in high school football, that is what helps you win football games. If you're willing to stand there and in the phone booth and trade punches, right? If you're willing to do that for 4 quarters, most teams aren't. And so you're going to win it over a 4-quarter game. And I think our kids are buying into that, and they're getting excited about it, and seeing that them playing that physical, wearing on people, especially as young kids, it's a good mental boost, and it keeps you in a game. And again, thought we covered well in the back end. Thought we played really well against the run. I think up front we did a really good job of holding our gaps. Owen White's another one that we've missed in a handful of games this year, and when he's back at middle linebacker, it completely changes who we are on defense.
Yeah, he led your team in tackles.
Yeah, like he's a big physical linebacker, and so we're able to do more things when he's in there in the middle, and so it really kind of lets everybody else play a little bit looser, and he can cover up if there is a mistake. He's good enough to kind of fix it on the fly, and again, just gets us into the right calls. And having him and Briggs both back there on defense, like there weren't any busted assignments, there weren't any missed calls. Like we were always in what we wanted to be in. And so, again, I think you can't say enough about the kids. They work so hard all week, especially with a young team, and kind of the year the ups and downs that we've kind of gone through this year to see them come out last week and have such a good week of practice. It really, it shows that we're still doing the right things. We're still going in the right directions. And, I think the future is still so bright.
Forced 4 turnovers last night, 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions, and that's always a good night. Braden Boggs had one of the interceptions along with Briggs Boyd, and Boyd also had a fumble recovery, and Latimer had the other. So I know we talked about Briggs, but on the defensive side, he got you 2 turnovers last night too. And so, I mean, that you really missed him defensively as well.
No doubt. But again, he's such a smart player. He's played so many games. He's had, so many snaps. He's seen so many different things.
It's the nose for the football, right? Isn't that the saying?
Like, you can't confuse him.
Yeah.
The eye candy doesn't affect him. He's seen it all before, and so he's able to just play his spot. Hated it for Box. I mean, he had his picks. It was a pick 6. He got called back.
Oh, did he really?
And so for a senior there to make such a great play, he dropped in underneath the post, picks it off, and then has a heck of a return to get back. Hated to see him to lose that touchdown there, but again, that's just he got exactly where he was supposed to go, and understood what the offense was trying to do, and made a great play on the ball. And then they even had a surprise little kick to the second row, or first kickoff of the game. And all the last 4 or 5 games, every kick had gone to about the 40 on the sidelines. And so, I had really worked those 2 guys all week. We hadn't really kicked it to the box. No one's ever kicked it to the middle. And so, of course, the opening kickoff, they kick it right to box. And he ends up getting it outside and picking up about 20 on that return. And so, again, I can't say enough about him either. I mean, he's a tight end. He's been playing offensive tackle for us a lot this year. And he's just a kid that he just wants to win. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. And, he never complains about it. He just comes out and keeps working. He's one of him and Briggs are the 2 that I've had for all 4 years of their high school career. And to watch their growth from freshman to senior year has been so much fun. And, just so excited for them, and so glad they were able to play so well. And, like I told them all, like, now on Friday we get to go play. You're guaranteed one more. Now you get to go play and try and earn yourself another one. And, now we got to win it Monday through Thursday.
Christian Peterson with us. Our last few moments together. Let's talk about the playoffs now. Coach, this is the 10th time in the last 14 years that MTCS has been in the playoffs, and I think this is a pretty amazing statistic. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, state championship 24. It's 9 in a row. That shows a lot of growth in really a relatively young football program.
No doubt. I mean, we've only had a team for right around 20 years now. I think next year's the 20 years.
Is that right? I knew we were getting close.
Because it started in 2005. And so, it's not easy to start a program and be successful. A lot of teams that had to start up struggle. And, again, I think it comes down to our administration's all in unison. They're online. They want kids to do well academically and athletically. And, I think that's the only way that you can have a good athletic program is if everybody's pulling the same direction. And, when it starts with Mr. Tiller and, he does a great job. And then you've got Dr. Sain as principal. You've got Jason Pierce, he's athletic director. You've got everybody's pulling in the same direction. And, again, the support we have at MTCS from the community is top notch. It doesn't matter if we're home or away. I can almost guarantee you that every game we're going to have more people in the stands than whoever we're playing. The community cares, and the community understands the game. And so, it's a great place to coach. It's a great place to play football. And, again, one of those stats where you go to the playoffs that many times in a row, like the expectation is we're going to get there. Sure. And then, once you get to the postseason, you just roll the ball out because nothing else matters, right? The 10 games that we've played now, they don't count anymore. Those were all just to get us here. Now we're all 0-0, and now we got to go take it one game at a time, one practice at a time, and try to put ourselves in position to try and win one and keep playing.
Well, you make a good point about that with the expectations, but what your team was able to do last year also takes expectations to a different level with kids, with fan support and whatnot, and that helps to build programs and take that next step. And so I think that's really what has led to your success this year with such a young group, that if last year was 4-6, 5-5 season, that may not have led to the expectations of these young kids this year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no doubt. And, we've talked about it. I think you want to be at a place with expectations. You want to be at a place where, you're expected to go win football games. We're young, and, we've grown, and we've done a lot of really good things. Obviously, everybody would like to win a couple more, but we talked about it kind of even before the season started, that in this game, there's so many variables of the game of football that you cannot be result-oriented. You've got to be process-oriented. You got to just trust the process and just keep working. And I think our kids are really buying into that, and it does help, being able to walk by and see that gold ball in the trophy case, and you're able to look at it and go, we've proven we can do it, and it's just a process to get back. And again, it allows our kids to have that belief that if we just keep working, we're going to get there. And to be able to get so many young guys experience this year is just going to help us in the future. And again, our senior group, I just can't say enough about them. They're going to be there no matter what happens here in this postseason. They're going to be the second winningest class in school history. They'll be only the second senior class to win over 30 games. And so they've been around a lot of success, and they've been able to show the young guys the way that it needs to be done, and the kind of our standard that we talk about all the time. And again, it's just one of those things where they know what it's supposed to look like. They've done it. They were here when we first got here, and it wasn't always pretty in year one. And so they've been through the ups and downs. They've been through we've got to keep building. And so, for that, they're able to kind of keep those young guys positive, and, it's really done a great job in our locker room. And again, I think the future's never been brighter, and I think our seniors are definitely going to leave the program in a really good spot.
Well, let's take a quick time out here. We're going to talk about Fayette Academy, the game that is up next, and we'll do that next here on MTCS Cougar Corner.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
People love to see us on the schedule when they have a home game because our fans show up.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
The way we travel is just phenomenal. Our parents and our community are fully engaged in our school. When we compete, we're trying to do it in a way that honors God. We want to win. We also want to do it in a way that pleases Him.
Providing Christian values and academic excellence in a nurturing environment. That's Middle Tennessee Christian School. Invest in the future of your child. Find out more at mtcscougars.org.
Genesee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Here's Dr. Russell McKissick with TOA.
We have a passion here for taking care of our athletes here in Rutherford County. We really do our best to take care of them.
Experts in joint, bones, and muscles.
Many years we've been taking care of athletes around here, and we've just picked up where Dr. John started, and we just keep going.
TOA has a playbook that gets you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. TOA, live your best life.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
We're going to be an educational institution that teach Bible every day. Every subject we teach, we're going to teach through a biblical perspective. In every aspect of our school, we're going to do it through a Christian perspective.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
That also means that everything we do, we have to be excellent. We feel like Christ calls us to excellence. And so that means we have to be excellent academically. That means we have to be excellent athletically, because that's what God calls us to. It's a great place to be.
Invest in your child's future in an environment that fosters Christ-centered values. To find out more, visit mtcscougars.org.
It's MTCS Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA, live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
On FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
Back on MTCS Cougar Corner, Christian Peterson stays with us here, and let's talk about the Fayette Academy Vikings. That's the opponent that's next up in the first round of the playoffs in a 3-4 game, and they come in at 4-5 on the season. You've had some history with Fayette Academy. The school has since 2018. First met in the playoffs in 2018, and Fayette Academy leads the series 2-0 here, so it would be nothing better than to hand them their first loss in this series between the two.
Yeah, no doubt. I haven't had the opportunity to play Fayette yet. And I've seen some film on them through the years, just through trade films when we're playing somebody else from the West. We'll be diving into their film a little bit more today. I know their coach does a really good job. They're really multiple on offense. They can line up in true spread look, and the next play they're in their wing T look, and they really try and mess with you that way. And they're a physical football team. And they play really hard, and they've had a really good year. They've beat some good teams, and they've been in games with some really good teams, and it's going to be a challenge for us. But again, if we go out and do what we do, if we have another really physical week of practice, I think we're going to give ourselves a chance. And we talk about it all the time. Like in high school sports, is all you can ask for.
Yeah.
You if you have a chance, you got a chance. And so just go out there and play really hard, stay positive, get to the next play, and see if we can't go pull one out.
So, with the exception of their game with Halls, they've scored at least 2 touchdowns, but a lot of their scores, they're scoring some points. And in their win last night over Harding Academy on the road, they put up 45. So, they must have a pretty decent offense.
Yeah, no, and like I said, their coach does a really good job over there. They're always competitive. They're never an easy out. So we'll need to be ready to play. But again, I think we're definitely gonna have a chance. We just gotta do what we do.
Well, you've got to get there to have a chance, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you did that.
Absolutely. And so, it's just gonna be about continuing to build on it. We need to go have a really good week of practice, and really just kind of keep building and just keep getting better. If you're a senior, go play so you can keep winning. If you're a young guy, play for those seniors, and also play for, use it as this is an elongated spring, right? Let's give you more reps to get you more ready for next year. And so, again, I think our kids have done a really good job of understanding that and again, being process-oriented. Like, I think they're starting to see the process. They're seeing the growth. They're seeing that we're getting better, and really just roll a ball out and let's go play physical.
Well, the chance for the stadium to be filled between the hedges next week, right?
Absolutely. I have no doubt. Our fans are the best in the state of Tennessee.
Well, Coach, congrats on the win. Congrats on the playoffs here, and let's see if we can make a little run.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian Peterson joining us here on MTCS Cougar Corner, and that will wrap up our time here this morning. I do want to make sure that you understand that next week we'll have a little different time. We'll post that on WGNSSports.com. We've got Middle Tennessee football. They're playing a bit early next week, so we'll have that to kind of complicate our schedule, but we'll let you know when Cougar Corner will be on next week, hopefully talking about a big playoff victory versus Fayette Academy. For all of the coaches and the host this morning, Brian Barrett signing off. Have a wonderful Saturday, and we'll see you back here next week.